and we have Dillyn and Heather. And Dillyn's going to talk about a little bit about his workshops. Him and his wife are working on. I think you will find these very interesting. But first, let me introduce them and let them talk a little bit about themselves, and then we'll go and introduce the program. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Mark. Thanks so much for having us.
We're
No
happy to be
problem.
here.
Go
Tell
ahead.
us a little bit. Go ahead.
Let's see. I am a transformational practitioner and facilitator, a Reiki master, a nurturing healer, coach. I am in this work because I have struggled with severe depression and suicidal tendencies for my whole life. And in going through different programs and working also with plant medicines, I've been able to release a lot of trauma from childhood and relationships that have really helped me to grow and cultivate peace within myself. And so I really have now really kind of dedicated my life to supporting other people in their transformation and creating their dream lives so that they don't have to feel like I felt for my whole life. So
It's amazing, right? And Dillyn, how about you? What brought you here?
Yeah, a little bit about me. First of all, I'm really grateful to be sharing something that I'm so passionate about, and you guys will definitely see the passion come from me about what we're offering. And it's because I just been in survival my entire life. I'm 29 years old, and I would say I just recently got out of survival, and it was through all the complex PTSD that I experienced when I was younger, and all these other self-limiting conversations that I would have within myself from how I was taught in my society, the community, my siblings, from all these different angles. I was basically pretending to be someone that I'm not, having severe chronic depression, never really even having a voice to speak my truth, not able to create healthy boundaries. So there's a lot of things that was just keeping me in survival. And through these transformational tools that we're going to offer and share with you all, plus the plant medicine components too, they really organize things in such a way where I could traverse the tension of opposites. And what that means, it's like whenever you're uncomfortable or wherever you have conflict, can you find peace in that uncomfortability, in that conflict? And that's really what we're offering in these workshops and in our mastermind. It give you the tools and the knowledge to be able to create those outcomes for yourself.
And you created a pretty cool course, you and Heather, haven't you?
Yeah, so we have a 3-month long program. It's called High Performance Mastermind Program. This program is not new. And what I mean by that is that this knowledge has been around since like the 70s. But what's new about it is the cutting edge of how it's modern and how you can actually apply it into your day-to-day now. And one of the biggest things is distinguishing distinctions. And this is just the power of our words and how we create with our words and what we create with our words. And like an example real quick would be the if you're reacting to something, if someone calls you a name or something like that, you have this hurt reaction versus when you're responding, right? When you're having that moment to pause, connect with yourself, and then choose what outcome you actually want to create in that moment. Do you want to create this hurt, I'm a victim mentality, or would you rather choose a different approach where maybe you can add connection into the space versus disconnection? So this is where the power of distinctions really, really come in. And we have so many, it's like a whole new language that you're learning, but you'll feel inside of you like how it actually empowers you versus disempowers you, and how simple as word choice.
And we collapse definitions of words and make them mean the same things. And this is how we can actually disentangle that and create a new way of communicating so that you can be understood better and communicate to somebody else more clearly. Yeah. So it helps to
uncollapse. I feel that's what it all is, Heather, and Dillyn, is just disentangling all your old thought processes. And this takes some time, and this takes workshops and classes and courses like yourselves. And this also takes, for me, it took medicine work. I had to do the medicine to crack that process, to open those neurons, to start being able to absorb this information. So
sometimes a little rewiring to open the door to deeper
Right.
understandings and awarenesses. Absolutely.
Right. Like I always say, these medicines are not the fix. They're just a catalyst that
Right.
break that thinking, and you can move forward and you can process things a lot better. So tell us a little bit about your awareness. We're going to run 2 little programs on our website for you guys. We're going to do an introduction workshop to your workshop, and then we're going to do your workshop. So tell us a little bit about your 2 workshops you got coming up.
Yeah, so one of the workshops is called Awareness Principles on Being. And these 2 workshops that we are creating, the other one is called Survival Context Workshop. And both of these workshops, there's still information and tools that we'll use in the High Performance Mastermind, the much larger program. But we're teaching them in a small way like this to really show you, like, holy crap, I need this in my life because of here's what I want to create in my life. And that's what this program is. It's a vehicle for you to create the results you're looking for. But other than just rewiring ourselves, the program's built off of team results and enrollment. And I love the team component because it really builds community. And one of the things that I see that's a challenge in community is being able to connect authentically and vulnerably with people. And usually like how that would look is like, oh, maybe someone doesn't, react. They don't react the way that I do. I feel alone in how I feel. And this training really will show you that you're not alone, that there's a lot of people who feel what you feel, who think the same things that you think. And there's just this whole source conversation that starts to unravel and unfold, and we start to see how small we are, but how big our shifts are in this world, and what it means to actually play big in that way. Yeah. So the reason why I mention that, because now going into the awareness principles on being, it's like, how do you play big, right? Like, what does that look like in life? And a lot of people think it's about doing stuff, right? You think you have to do so much in your life in order to be big, to have value, to be worthy, and it's just not true. Like, we've been sold a lie, and we're seeing this in corporate America. It's not working, right? The doingness is not working. What we're seeing with the doingness is people being depressed, depleted, and drained. Mm-hmm. All of this is coming from the incessantness of doing. So we have a very, very simple formula: be, do, have. And what people have it as is they have do, be, have. So they think if I do all this stuff, I can then be happy, be peaceful, and have these amazing relationships or have this amazing wealth. And that's just not what we find. But if you can be peaceful and be happy, you will do all the things necessary automatically to have what it is that you're looking for. If it's abundance in relationships, if it's abundance in wealth, if it's abundance in health, you'll find it just with this simple formula of be, do, have.
It's amazing you say that, because we are so programmed in this society to think the irrational way, to think of this corporate way of living. And I mean, this has been programmed in us for the last 40, 50 years, this corporate evolution. But once you definitely get out of that and you start realizing that, like you just said, abundance comes, man. Abundance comes, and it really does. But I think we all fear that. We all sit in fear because we've been told something else. Fear is
the other thing too is people have a time conversation. They say, "Oh, I don't have time for that," because they have all these other things taking their time and distracting, essentially. And that's also what this mastermind lays out so crystal clear, is it shows you how to effectively use time and your own self-development journey, as opposed to being a victim of time. Either not having enough of it, or some people have too much of it and they don't know what to do with it, right? So it's like you're on either ends of this spectrum, never actually utilizing what it is that how time is, or how you could utilize time. We call that managing time, not time managing you.
What do we call it now in this 3D world? We call it time management, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I love these kind of courses. I think these kind of things are really what we need in this community, more so of things like this, and teaching people new ways to reprogram their program, because that's all we are. We're just programmed. All we are is programmed. Once we lose a little bit of that program, we become the whole ourselves. And that's what we're here for. We're not here to work for corporate America for the rest of our lives.
No.
We're here to live our lives.
It's true.
Once we just start being who we are supposed to be and remembering who we are after undoing all these conditionings, that's when we start to see the manifestations of what we actually want. Because it just automatically comes to you.
Yeah.
It's just clearing the path for that, you know.
The high performance mastermind course. It's been around for a little while, but you kind of made it a little more structured, or how did you do this? What did you do with this course?
Yeah, so when we did the training, we saw a lot of things that were not coming out in an effective way. They weren't creating the 2%, like they say. And what I mean by that is how they could take a tool and it can create so much healing and transformation. What you're seeing people is they'll use a tool out of the context in which it was delivered. So then what it ends up happening, or how it shows up, is it will be a weapon, and it starts to weaponize against one another. So this tool that could actually create connection and deeper intimacy and vulnerability, now it's creating disconnection, separation, and radical positions, which is oppositions or being in conflict with one another. And this is kind of where we added some of our tools and things that we've learned outside of that training, and we've implemented them into it to really iron out some of those issues that we saw coming up. Another thing that we saw too inside these programs was, just about everybody in this world, if you're a human, you probably have some form of trauma on one degree or another.
For sure.
So what this training does is it has an amazing way of bringing up some of that stuff so you can release it. And sometimes people would have things brought up and they wouldn't have a catharsis, or they wouldn't have resources and tools to come to a catharsis, even outside of the training, right? So this is like a 3-month program. And the idea is to teach people how to master their lives. So if somebody's stuck in the survival and they're still in that activated response space, they're not going to be able to master their lives. And this is what we also added. We added more tools and more knowledge. So that way, when somebody leaves the training, they have all the tools that they need to create the results they're looking for, even outside of the training.
Right.
And that's the idea, be a self-cleaning oven, right?
Right. Yeah, because we get stuck, like you say, and a self-cleaning oven. I like that. That's good. Because we get stuck in this, like you said. And you know what? Well, how we're talking here, we've only mentioned the medicine once on this whole conversation in the beginning, because like I say, the medicine is just the catalyst. We're the plant medicine path. We promote using these psychedelic medicines to get your mind into a different perspective and a different framework to start absorbing this information differently. That's all these medicines do. And
they're not a magic pill. They don't cure all.
But there sure is definitely magic within them, because I've seen the magic. I've never seen medicines work like this in mental health. And I think we demonize mental health, but we don't demonize physical health. We could say all day long, physically healthy, but once we mention mental health, we all say, wait a minute, because we've been stigmatized with that's bad. But don't you think our mental health is the reason for our physical body to be in tune? We need to get our mental health right to have everything else right. So these words we use and what we say triggers these old emotions, because mental health is a great word. Mental health. That's what we want to do. We want to be mentally healthy. It's not a bad stigmatized word anymore.
That's a goal. Life goals.
That's a goal. Absolutely a goal. So,
what's interesting is the mental health or the pathology somebody might experience. Once you get to the root core of it, the pathologies disappear. They vanish. And I think this is something that we're also seeing in the medical model, that some of the conventional things haven't been working. So that's where the plant medicines are and the psychedelics are really mind expanding, which is what psychedelic means. It's opening people up to alternate ways of healing, which are just as effective and just as valid. Right? Yeah.
Just as valid. We just put a closure on them back in the 60s. Okay. Some people just said, we're not going to make people not think the way we want to think. Okay. So, but we'll leave that subject to another story. And I love what you're doing with all these courses. I think, especially, you're young. You're in your 29s, 30s, right? You're going into this new evolution. And, it's really beautiful to see that starting to transpire in this world. People of your age is kind of wanting to change because, you get past that little 50-year-olds and you've gained a lot of trauma in your life. Got a lot more to work with.
Yeah.
It's great that younger people are actually being open to different modalities because they have less crap to unpack.
Yeah,
so that's fantastic. And then they'll have longer, more life to thrive in. So that's fantastic. It's never too late, though.
I think a lot of our kids are growing up a lot faster too, just because they have the internet, so like you can get anything at your fingertips now, and when I was 16 years old, that wasn't possible.
We didn't even have cell phones when I was 16 years old. So
I didn't know about this when I was 16 and I wasn't programmed the way I was. But why don't we finish up a little bit about what we're going to be doing with your workshops, what you're going to be bringing to the Plant Medicine Path website, and because I'd really like people to start exploring what you guys are doing because I think it's really cool. So
thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really important to definitely have all that integrated, like you're mentioning, the mind, body, and spirit, and that's what we really show and teach inside these workshops in this mastermind. Anybody who does any plant medicine work, the things that are taught in this mastermind, they're gonna be like, oh, I either know this, but I didn't know it in this way, and that's what I mean by like there's things that we collapse, and this like unravels that collapsing, especially in plant medicine work. So anybody who does it will relate to the content of what shows up.
And I like that idea of having more tools, more modalities available, not just necessarily plant medicine work, but also, work for, transformation, liberation, empowerment that don't necessarily need to have plant medicine work.
Yep.
However, this does actually work very much in tandem with it if that's something that people are interested in. So using them combined in some ways can really be supportive in further.
Well, not only that, Heather, it gives you a new avenue and a new tool and a new thought process to reprogram what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
All these modalities. You might not like yoga, you might not like breath work, you might not like meditation, but they're all modalities that you have to start connecting. So let's talk a few more things before we get off here. Why don't we talk about what does mastermind course mean?
Mastermind course really in the gist of it is how to be a thriving self-cleaning oven, a happy, peaceful, loving human being, and what's stopping you from getting in the way.
Yeah, it's like the results that you want to create in your life. What do you want to create? Getting very clear with it and actually coming up with steps like that you can actually take. And it's all individual along with a group dynamic. So everybody supports each other, but it's an individual journey and it's all based on what your intentions are for your life. And we just hold you accountable to that and give you tools to support you in that endeavor.
Well, one of the tools, like in the first workshop, the awareness principles on being, what I see a lot in the spiritual community is, people not being able to be their word, right? Or there's like a lack of integrity and how to get back into integrity. So this is really what we also are going to teach is about the importance of Integrity Bank, and then this tool on how to get you back in integrity. But not only that, but you'll gain the awareness of what had you out of integrity. Like what other commitments that were underlying that you didn't know were actually stealing and robbing your attention and getting you away from what you're trying to create in your life. And that's what this first tool really will show people in a very crystal clear way. But just like anything, if you don't practice it, you won't see it, you won't gain it. And it does become, once you get the practice down, it's like an automatic. I've been doing this tool now for 2 years, and my bad days are almost inexistent. Like I rarely have bad days, And this is coming from someone who was suicidal and chronically depressed, you know.
and it's even like just a smaller amount. Like it's not even like a whole day. It might just be a bad few minutes until, you know, you're able to work through what's coming up and releasing that and being able to move forward. So
well, we're entitled to those bad days.
We are.
Absolutely.
They're absolutely
Oh, absolutely.
valid.
Absolutely.
We get to have them.
Yeah.
We're human.
I'm glad you brought that up. No spiritual bypassing either. I know there's like a premature peace and a premature forgiveness that's really just people pleasing, enabling. That's not what I'm speaking about, actually. No. I'm talking about authentic,
the real,
the real deal healing. Yeah, like really looking at it.
Yeah,
it's messy.
Yeah, you can tell by just watching you two. You are the real deal. I really appreciate both of you. You guys, let's just start off. You do some ceremonies over in your spot over there in Davie. Is that where you guys are?
We're in Coral Springs area. Yeah. But we travel too. You know, we just went to Cape Cod recently.
We've been to Virginia. We've been to Texas.
Yeah, we love going and setting up things perfectly for how our clients really want to set that up for themselves. And we basically give them everything, and they just gotta enjoy the experience. Or not too, because like I said, part of it is not enjoying the experience. But if you can be at peace with the uncomfortability, it doesn't matter what's in your space, you'll find joy in it.
We're gonna be our website launches next week. We're so happy. It's been so long, about a year of hard work, but we're so excited about all this. And you know, you're gonna be on our website. We're gonna throw your workshops up there. We're gonna put your your mastermind program on there. I'm really fortunate. Me and Michelle have met you too. You can tell just by looking at you two, you're solidly on this path. Love this conversation. We will continue this. We will see you on the website. We will start promoting you on the Facebook group. And anything you want to close with?
Thanks so much for having us. I'm really grateful to be a part of the community, a part of your guys' network, and to be able to share resources and wisdom with each other. Like I'm very grateful.
Yeah, collaboration is the key.
Collaboration is the key. We'll end right there. Love you guys. Have a beautiful weekend.
You too.